Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Honza Novak. I'm a fight analyst from Prague, Czech Republic. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Neil, the Haitian sensation Magny. Neil,
Thanks.
welcome here.
Hey, how's it going? It's a pleasure being here with you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you doing a podcast with me, doing it in the very morning from Denver, Colorado. Today we will discuss your career in general, your last victory over Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos, which was 2 weeks ago, and
Okay.
also your couple years in military and a lot of things that we just get into. So first of all,
Okay.
before we start with fighting, I want to talk about Neil Magny as person. I mentioned your nickname was a Haitian sensation, even though you were born in Brooklyn, New York. So, can you tell us about your ancestors and what does nickname mean to you in general?
Yeah, my I was very fortunate for my parents to be able to make it over to America and provide us with the opportunities that we had here. Though things weren't the smoothest growing up, we definitely had it a lot better than some people have it around the world, so to speak. So for me, I went most of my fight career without ever using a nickname. It wasn't until I actually went on a mission trip to Haiti that I felt that I should or I needed to do I have a nickname, and I need to have a nickname that would actually resonate with the people there, more particularly resonate with the youth there. So going to Haiti on a mission trip, you meet a lot of different people. You meet some people in some extreme circumstances, and meeting some of the young people there. They were eager to just find hope in any way they can. Hope to be engineers, hope to be doctors, hope to just make it to America, be able to earn a wage where they provide for their family. Just they were just super eager to have any kind of hope to advance their life and make their lives better or that kind of thing. So when I went there, I was very fortunate to meet some of those young people throughout the island. And when they found out that I was Haitian, they were just super. There was like this instant sense of pride that I felt that they had, where they're like immediately felt connected to me, and it felt like, whoa, what? You're one of us, but you're in America and you're doing good for yourself. Like, how can I be? It was just kind of like, for some, it was kind of like mind blowing that someone can be from the same environment they are, be come up under some of the same circumstances they are, and still find a way to pursue their passion, pursue their dreams, and make them reality sort of thing. So. When I adopted that nickname, it was for those kids, got to give them some hope. Where it's like, you can watch me fight on TV and see Haitian Haitian going to bomb and say, wait, he's one of us. He's pursuing his goals. He's pursuing his dreams. He's making it happen. Like, why can't I dream? Why can't I set out to do big things and chase my goals as well? So that was part of the reasons for me adopting that nickname and kind of leading into it over the years.
Okay, one question. What's the language then they used over there? Is English as well or entirely different language?
No, so in Haiti, mainly they speak Creole. There's a large majority of the people there who speak French as well.
Mhm.
And now we're starting to get introduced to like having English be something that's presented in like schools and education systems. Usually because how things happen over here. So a lot of schooling in Haiti is funded by people outside of Haiti. So a big English curriculum is getting pushed in the education systems out there. So that's becoming huge now, but their main language is Creole.
Can you speak it?
Yeah, yeah, I can speak it very well. Not as well as I used to, just because I'm not around it as much. So like growing up with my family, being around my mother, being around my grandmother, I spoke it pretty often. Now is more so like every once in a while, my mom would call me, she'll speak in Creole, and I'll respond in English or vice versa.
Mhm.
But yeah, I still have a pretty good understanding of it still. I can't read or write it, but as far as like carrying on a conversation, I can still do that pretty well.
Amazing. As I mentioned, you were born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Then you moved, if I'm not mistaken, to Illinois, and now you are
Yep.
training and also living in Denver, Colorado. So you spent your entire life in the US, and what can you say about these places?
Man, I love it. New York definitely molded me to be uh, kind of resilient. Like, you know what I mean? There was a lot of circumstances I had to deal with early on in life living in New York City. They kind of molded me for what life was to present to me as I got older and as I entered into adulthood, so to speak. So, though wasn't the easiest time growing up in New York City, it was definitely a fortunate time to kind of mold me into the person I am now and kind of give me some different perspectives on life and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I lived in New York City up until about middle school, high school era. Then we started transitioning to move to Illinois. I stayed there for high school, college, and then shortly after college, I decided to pack up, move to Colorado to be here and train. And I've been here ever since. I'm going on year 13 now, being in Colorado.
Hmm. One more question before we get to the last fight. How many siblings do you have? Do you have many?
Yeah, so total there was seven of us. My mom had five boys, one girl. I'm sorry, six of us. There was five boys, one girl that she had, and I fell right in the middle.
Hmm.
So I have one younger brother, one younger sister, and the rest are older than me. But yeah, I come from a huge family, very close-knit family where we kind of show up for each other no matter what.
Hmm. So even the middle childs can be successful in their lives. And let's talk about the last fight. So 2 weeks ago, you went against a dangerous veteran, as I mentioned, Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos, the Brazilian capoeira guy who knocked out Sean Strickland with a spinning kick. But you beat him quite effortlessly. I watched the fight today, and you managed to TKO him in the second round. So can you talk us through the fight?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would not call it effortless there, man. Definitely showed some skill in that fight. But it was a good fight. I mean, Alonso dos Santos is a guy that, like you mentioned, he's a fellow UFC veteran as well. He's been around the sport for I want to say over a decade. He's fought the
Yeah,
who's who.
I was thinking
Um,
like when you guys got matched up, I was like, how these guys haven't fought each other 3 times already? They've been around for so many years. Like,
Yeah, I mean, similar to Gunnar Nelson, that was another fight that I was scheduled to have at least three times throughout my career now.
mhm,
I think Gunnar Nelson and I were matched up to fight each other three, if not four times. Same thing with Lauzio dos Santos. Like, it was one of those things that, like, hey, we're matched up, and then he gets injured, or I get pulled for another fight, or something happens where that fight ends up not taking place. So it was definitely a fight that was. In the making for years. I mean, I think I was scheduled to fight Laozu 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, and it just kept on coming back up. And for some reason or another, just never came to fruition. But I was happy to finally get that fight. I feel like that was a fight that was in makings for a while. The matchmakers threw out there a couple of times, so to finally get an opportunity to go out there and compete against a guy like Lazu, who I definitely have a ton of respect for, it was a great fight. It was a great opportunity. I was very fortunate to go in that fight against him.
And so he was trying to take you down, and then you when you finally got into top position, you were dominating and eventually winning by ground and pound from back mount, right?
Yeah, so it's a very interesting approach on his end. I mean, watching film on him, we saw that he's a very good striker. He's a very talented striker. He's quick. Like you mentioned, he throws a spinning heel kick. He's very fast. He's able to knock out Sean Strickland with one of them. So going into this fight, we were definitely anticipating his striking to be something extremely difficult or something that I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to deal with. But once the fight came around, he decided to take a completely different approach and wrestle. He was engaged in the clinch, engaged in the wrestling, really trying to force the takedown. And to be honest, it kind of threw me off guard. I was like, huh, the
Hmm.
guy who's known for, I mean, his nickname is literally Capoeira. Like he has it in his name. I was very thrown off and surprised that he would decide to wrestle in that fight. But it was interesting nonetheless. I mean, being in that fight and watching that fight play out, I was definitely curious as to what it was that he saw and his camp saw that thought his best chance of winning against me was going to be to
I can tell you right
grapple.
now, they saw your 80 inches reach, so which is over 2 meters. Like you try, how do you close the distance against a spider? So that
For
might be the
sure.
reason. I think so.
But yeah, I mean, but it definitely caught me off guard. I was like, the entire time we're wrestling, I'm thinking at any moment he's gonna break off and strike, and I just kind of, I just never committed to just wrestling. 'Cause I was always in the back of my mind worried about like, all right, he's gonna break off an elbow, he's gonna break off an uppercut, something's going to happen where he's gonna try to strike, and it kind of never came. It was just kind of like he was content with like being able to try to control the wrestling, whether it be against the fence or on the ground. He was just kind of content with like holding position and maintaining position. So once I realized that he wasn't going to really break off and strike, it was immediately for me to click over and say, all right, cool, let's go ahead and out grapple him now and find a dominant position. And I was able to do just that. I mean, I was able to go for a Darce. He did a good job of standing up to his feet and defending the Darce well. So I was able to find the knees that eventually led him getting dropped to the mat, and then from there I was able to capitalize on opportunity, take us back, and finish the fight. But overall, I was very impressed. I was confused but impressed. Confused about the game plan, but very impressed that he was had the ability to shift from his strength being striking to adapting a grappling style fight.
I would be interested in hearing from him whether it was a game plan from his camp or something he managed to think of during the fight. If something happened in his head during the fight and he decided to just simply wrestle. And then you mentioned the Darce choke, which is like one of your best techniques. I remember you finishing D-Rod with that, and you hold the lock and decided to throw the knees. And I think from that moment it started to like get on your side, and you were dominating from that moment. And eventually you got him down and got into dominant position.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that like I'm constantly looking for ways to improve my position or improve in the fight or even end the fight. So I was definitely looking to get the darts, but he did a good job defending. He came out to his feet, and with the new rule set, even if one hand is on the mat, you're still not a grounded opponent. It has to be a knee, a shin, or something other than your hands touching the mat. So when he stood up, I was like, I literally took a second to think like, oh wait, he's not grounded, and then was able to go ahead and find the opportunity to throw the knees. But it's what's fun about the sport. There's always ways to improve and kind of like make it truly mixed martial arts. I mean, here I am going for a jiu-jitsu technique. He stands up, and I turn it into a Muay Thai technique. So it was definitely one of the things I enjoy about the sport, just how creative you can get and just how wild this sport can be at times.
One more thing about that fight. If you had to compare, what was your strategy going in? Can you tell us? Can you share with us what was the initial strategy? But eventually, it turned out to be different fight than you expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going into the fight, the strategy would be to use the range against him. I mean, I saw the fight against Randy Brown. Randy Brown did a really good job of keeping him at bay and peppering him from the outside the entire fight. So that was definitely a fight. That was definitely something that we envisioned going into the fight. That reach advantage could play a huge difference in the fight. And the other fight that we really studied was the fight against Chidi. Chidi was able to keep him
Yudin
on the
Jukwani,
outside.
right?
Yes, yeah. I couldn't pronounce his last name, so I didn't want to attempt it and completely butcher it. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna say Chidi.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
fine.
Chidi.
Uh-huh.
Che did a really good job of keeping him at bay, and then when he rushed in to close distance, he timed that perfect knee up the middle. So definitely, those two fights were things that I was were two fights that I was able to kind of formulate a game plan on it and kind of anticipate how the fight was going to go. But
Mhm.
like we said, I mean, he did his own homework as well and realized that his best chance at winning the fight was to close the distance, and he did just that. I mean. It was even working in his favor where I was so worried about him breaking up and striking that I never really focused too much on the wrestling within that fight. So on both ends, I mean, that was a fight that we both did our homework and anticipated how the fight was going to go. And at the end, we just kind of had to adjust fire and do what it takes to win. And fortunately, it was my night that night.
Yeah, this victory, it was great and big for you for multiple reasons. One of them is that you managed to snap your losing skid. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were on two fight losing streak, if I'm not mistaken, and then you broke it. So it had to be a great feeling for you.
Yeah, it was a great fight. It was a great weekend. I mean, everything came together that night. I mean, I literally fought the night before my birthday. Literally
Mhm.
got a black belt the night of my fight. Was able to snap the two fight losing streak. A lot of good things happened that night. I was very grateful for the opportunity. I mean, one thing had I knew ahead of time, I'd probably do a little bit different. But had I known a black belt was on the line, I probably would have pursued the submissions a bit more and been a bit more relentless on submitting them as opposed to just getting the victory. But overall, I was happy with the performance. It was a great opportunity to go out there and test myself, and
Mhm.
it felt good to walk away victorious.
I was gonna talk about the black belt. You seem to be very surprised during the press conference. You were eating some sweets, and then out of nowhere, you were promoted to black belt. But you mentioned you wanted to win by submission. We've seen so many people that won by knockout in stand-up department, and they got the black belt. So I think it's still fine. You won in a dominant position. And one more thing that is very good, and like you're becoming a welterweight legend. You are now tied for most victories with 23 inside the UFC promotion, and you are tied with people Andrei Arlovsky, Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, and Donald Cerrone. How does it feel?
Man, it feels great. I mean, those are some great names to be accompanied by. I mean, these guys had great careers in mixed martial arts and continue to have great careers in mixed martial arts. So to be mentioned in the conversation with those guys for any reason whatsoever, even if it's just like, hey, I shared the locker room with Max Holloway. Like, just be mentioned in the same sense with guys like that, legends of the sport, is a great feeling. I mean, this means I'm doing something right. Let me know that the hard work is and consistency is paying off. So just kind of stick to it. Keep my head down. Keep working. Keep moving forward. And at the end of it, I mean, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, I can sit back and say, "Wow, look what I accomplished over the years in the sport," and be proud of it at that moment. But for now, it's just um, acknowledging where I'm at and being appreciative where I'm at, but not being content. Is still being hungry and determined to go out there and get more done throughout my career.
You said I think I'm doing well, and like I know so many talented fighters who are so great, and they don't even reach 23 professional fights, and you have 23 victories inside the UFC. Many people don't even get there in their entire career, so I think that's something to be proud of. So you guys are tied for second place in most victories inside the UFC, like across all weight classes. On the first place is Jim Miller with four more, so 27. And just one more thing, you have now most fights, most wins, and also most significant strikes in welterweight history. Like
Like I
what the
said, it
fuck,
feels good
man?
to be able to keep going out there and doing it. I mean, I think after every last one of these opportunities, I mean, like you said, it's something that's never guaranteed or never promised. I mean, even for myself earlier in my career, like the goal was to get to the UFC. The goal was to fight for UFC. But at times it was very discouraging and it didn't seem like it was going to happen. I mean, my shot at getting at my UFC opportunity came through the Ultimate Fighter TV show.
Hmm.
I tried out for that show 4 times before I actually made it. The first time I was cut, not enough fights. The second time it was like, yeah, I like the fights you had, but still not quite enough. The third time we went out for the first Ultimate Fighter live season, and the casting call was for 155 and 170. They decided to cut the 170 part and keep the 155 part, so didn't get picked out then. And then finally, the fourth time, I was like, "All right, here we go, trying out for it again." And I finally got my opportunity to compete for the chance at earning a UFC contract, and fortunately, it worked out for me. But even then, it wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't a permanent thing. It wasn't a for sure thing. I mean, my season of the Ultimate Fighter was one of the seasons where Dana White decided to change things drastically, where a lot of the guys on the show for that season they were kind of content with just being on the show. They thought they're like, oh, cool. I made it to the house. I'm gonna get at least 8 fight on the UFC. And Dana White told us directly that, hey, none of you guys are guaranteed to be fighting for a UFC contract. Like unless you're fighting in the finals, none of you guys are gonna be fighting for a UFC contract at the end of the day. So when he said that, it kind of like deflated a lot of people's egos and hopes or
Hmm.
whatever. Where it's just like, crap, we gotta win this whole thing to get our shot or whatever. So um, for me, the pressure was on. I mean, I fought. I think during the filming, it lasted 7 weeks. I fought seven. I'm sorry, I fought 4 times in 7 weeks in order to try to get the opportunity to fight for a UFC contract. Unfortunately, my fourth fight, I ended up getting KO'd by Mike Ricci. So you can imagine the heartbreak that comes with that. It's like, oh, you just got knocked out. You're waking up like, oh, where am I? What happened? What's going on? And you get told like, yeah, you just got knocked out, and your immediate thought is like, oh no, there's my shot. I'm not gonna fight for the
Hmm.
UFC anymore. Um, and you kind of feel it slipping away or whatever. But fortunately, even with that, I was given an opportunity to be one of four fighters from that season to get opportunity to compete immediately after filming. And out of those four guys, I ended up being the last one remaining. And there have been a couple guys on my season who got picked up later on, but I was one of four guys that was fortunate I was able to get an immediate contract from the Ultimate Fighter for that season.
Okay, I think the season was Shane Carwin versus Frank Mir, or
Shane Carn versus Roy Nelson,
Roy
big country Roy
Nelson. Yeah.
Nelson. Yeah,
Okay, big
yeah, but
county.
even that, it's one of those crazy things. I mean, you're in there busting your ass doing what you can to win the fight, and the one thing most people remember about my Cedar Ultimate Fighter was "Let me bang, bro." So forget about all the other fights that happened. Forget about all the other fighters who were there. The only thing people remember my season about Ultimate Fighter was a guy with a pink mohawk yelling "Let me bang, bro."
Yeah, I think he fought at the BKFC a couple years ago, and I was gonna get to Ultimate Fighter later, but we already started it, so let's finish this topic. So, who won that bracket in your weight class?
Sorry, was that who got the tough bracket?
Yeah, who won that season
Oh,
of the
so
tough?
Colton Smith won the Ultimate Fighter for season 16. He beat Mike Ricci. And then myself and John Manley were able to face off and get an opportunity to compete. But it was it was a good time. One of the things that I noticed about that fight and noticed about the UFC is when you're given the platform, given the opportunity, go out there and ask what you want and take advantage of that opportunity. I mean, most of the time when a fighter is asked, like, hey, what do you want next? I mean, people like myself tend to take the humble approach, like, oh, I'll fight whoever you tell me to fight. Let's put this in front of me, whatever else may be. But like UFC, Dana White, Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard, Hunter, they all want guys to go out there and kind of say what you want and actually mean it when you say it. So we can see it happen this most recently. There was a guy who fought on Tuesday for Contender Series and
Hmm.
told Dana White, "I want to fight for the UFC as soon as possible. Heck, if you make me fight in 4 days on a Chicago card, with my teammate, I'll be there." UFC signed him and got him a fight in 4 days. So my season at Ultimate Fighter definitely help me to realize that hey, go out there and like say what you want, like be vocal about it, not just be vocal about it, be ready to work your ass off and achieve it as well. So though I didn't win my season, though I was one of the four guys that got the opportunity, I was great for the opportunity to kind of learn how to be more vocal and go out there and ask for exactly what it is that I want throughout my career.
Okay, it will have been 20th of Ultimate Fighter, or the finalists will be taking place. One of them this night, and other one in couple of weeks. So it will have been 20 years of the Ultimate Fighter. Do you enjoy this show after all these years? Do you still watch it?
Every once in a while I'll tune in to see what was going on. Like this season was very interesting in itself. Having Chael Sonnen and
Mm-hmm.
DC face off as coaches, but I was kind of interested to see what approach it would take. So historically, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
everything about the Ultimate Fighter made it competition based. Whereas like you had the coaches challenges, and you knew that the two coaches were going to fight each other at the end of the season as well. So it was always like interesting to see that dynamic and to see just how competitive the guys would get with one another. So when this one came about, and they were like, "Oh no, we're going to have two retired fighters coach up against each other," I was like, "Huh." Interesting. I want to see how this is going to approach. But they, one of the things that I can acknowledge and appreciate is like they ran this season between Chael Sonnen and DC. They carried themselves like the business of fighting, which was interesting. So I mean, there was even a one episode where I recall where a guy was getting ready to miss weight, and Chael took it upon himself to call DC like, "Hey man, our guy's gonna miss weight. What's it gonna take for this fight to happen?" And Chael was like, "Yeah man, we're gonna fork out X amount of dollars per pound in order to make this fight happen." And DC was like, "Huh, sounds good. Let me present to my guy and see what he says." And those guys were able to come together and make that joint decision or whatever. So a lot of fight to go on. So it was cool to see the different approaches this season took, where guys like Chael Sonnen and DC, we're not just showing the guys how to fight. We're not just showing the guys how to be passionate. We're not just showing the guys a bunch of techniques, but also showing the guys how to respect MMA as a prize fighting business and how to show up and handle your business as well.
And these guys are friends, you know it, but they are pretending like they are rivals. So yeah, it has different energy, and I like both of them. So it's a great season. They are trying to bring each episode some winner of the previous seasons. And yeah, okay, so that's it. That's the Ultimate Fighter. After this, we will get to start of your career, regional circuit. But we mentioned the black belt, so you were promoted to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt after how many years of practice in this sport?
Total now, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 20 years now. I started my junior year in high school back in 2005. So in jiu-jitsu now, I have 20 years under my belt. And it's kind of crazy because when you think of the journey of jiu-jitsu, most people would have started jiu-jitsu and got a black belt right around the 9, maybe 10 year mark or whatever. So to be able to get it within 20 years, it's like I took that lap twice before I finally got it. But overall, I appreciate it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for the opportunity to wear a black belt and what it means to wear a black belt. But for me, as a mixed martial artist, the journey doesn't stop there. There's still more learning to do. There's still more growing to do. There's still many more goals to set. There's still many more goals to accomplish. So though I appreciate getting the black belt, I feel like this is just a start of yet another journey. Just like all the other belts were. I mean, when I first started as a white belt, like who would have knew that I can turn it into an actual opportunity to fight for the UFC when I first got it, all these other belts? Who knew it to turn the opportunity to be where I'm at now? So I'm grateful to have received the black belt, and I'm excited to see what I do over the next, who knows, next 20, 30 years of still participating in the sport that I do love.
I think it's well earned. Like I imagine you don't have too many trainings in the actual gi sessions. You have to practice everything to be all around fighter, well-rounded guy. So it's way more difficult than for people that only practice gi and they are trying to get that black belt as soon as possible. Can you tell us
For
about your
sure.
professor who's the guy who promoted you?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool because the cool thing about jujitsu is that you kind of follow like a lineage chart for like how it all originates back to like a couple of people who started out kind of thing. So when I first started my career, I was training with guys like Miguel Torres and Andre Maneco. So Miguel Torres and Andre Maneco were able to promote me all the way up to a brown belt. And you can trace that. You can see that they were under Carson Gracie. Then there was Carson Gracie Jr. and then all the Carson Gracie Jr. black belts themselves included. So I was able to get promoted all the way up to brown belt from those guys who were coming from that branch of Carson Gracie Jr. and their lineage of black belts. And then I moved over to Colorado to train, and I've been training here for the last going on 13 years now. And you can see how that lineage chart breaks down as well. So you have guys like Henzo Gracie. Then you have the Renzo Gracie black belt. So you have Renzo Gracie. Then you have Amal Easton, who received his black belt with Renzo Gracie or from Renzo Gracie. And then you have Elliot Marshall, who received his black belt from Amal Easton under that lineage of Renzo Gracie and that kind of thing. And you see how it branches out to being, okay, cool. Who then does Elliot Marshall promote to black belt? Being my now jiu-jitsu coach, Jared McCluskey, and watching his lineage as well. So it's like, for me it's pretty cool and fascinating to kind of like know the roots and know the history of jiu-jitsu and see how it's all like connected and intertwined or whatever. So it just, I'm very fortunate to be part of that. And then even when I look at that branch from coming from that Renzo Gracie um, uh, lineage or whatever with that Carlos Gracie lineage, but it's cool to see guys like Daniel Gracie over in Philadelphia, who I've been fortunate to be able to train with, still come from that lineage as well, and how like me choosing to go to the East Coast, I'm kind of walking into his home, so to speak, to be able to train with his guys and his team and be walking like family, so to speak, based off of where I trained and who I trained with and that kind of thing. So it's just a it's a cool thing to sit back and observe when you look at it.
Yeah, yeah, I like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu scene as well. I remember going to my first MMA training back in 2015, and all the people were like, "Oh, this is Michal Bittner. This is the only Czech guy to have a actual black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The rest of the competitors with black belt in Czech Republic are Brazilians living in the Czech Republic, and now we have like 150 of them 10 years later. So it's still blowing
Yeah,
up,
that's
and
awesome.
UFC BJJ is a thing we can point to. They realized too that it has some potential more than a couple years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah,
Are
it's
you
cool. I
part
mean,
of
it's
it
really
as
cool to see
well?
how it goes. I mean, like martial arts has brought so much throughout my life, and I'm just grateful to be able to share with more and more people. I mean, even recently, like outside of myself, you see guys like Thad Jean, who is also Haitian, and see what he's accomplished over at PFL. So, just to see how far that the sport has come and how much has evolved. I mean, I think we have one other Dominican fighter in the UFC currently. We had one other Haitian fighter in UFC over time, which was Ovince St. Preux, who fought for the title and
Mm-hmm.
had a great run in UFC and that kind of thing. So just to watch how widespread martial arts have become throughout the world and all the people has been able to affect, like it's just really cool to sit back and see.
Mm-hmm. Now that we mentioned your coaches, you are now training in Denver, Colorado. What's the name of the gym, please?
So currently now I'm training with out of Pound for Pound, but like it's interesting because in Colorado, there's so many gyms there. It's a community of people in Colorado. That really what it boils down to. So predominantly, most of my training is done in pound for pound. But like I said, I have some really good coaches around me. Jared McCluskey, who also has a jiu-jitsu school called Bird Jiu-Jitsu on his part of town. Then you have Andrew Sanchez, my wrestling coach, who has his own thing going up in Blackhawk, Colorado for
Mm-hmm.
wrestling. Then you have Justin Holton, who fought for so many different promotions for MMA and kickboxing, as my striking coach, who runs pound for pound. And then have all these other alliances from guys in Colorado. I'm still having the ability to train with them. I'm able to go to Steve Hordisky's gym, being Catharo Jiu Jitsu, and train with him. I'm able to go to Hayato Martial Arts and train with the guys there. I'm able to go to Genesis and train with the guys there. There's so many different gyms in Colorado that I'm able to have access to. It just speaks to the relationship and the bond that you build with people over the years, where it's like, hey, I'm fighting a Southpaw grappler. I can call every coach in Colorado and ask, hey, who do you guys have for a Southpaw grappler? Like, oh yeah, I got this guy, and they'll just all just kind of show up and help me out. And when the guys need a tall orthodox fighter, I show up and help them out as well. So for me right now, Colorado is like it's cool to have your hub that you go back to, but it's like a huge community of martial arts that all comes together.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Andrew Sanchez, who's a
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still actively fighting. He was in UFC at some point. He fought Mahmoud Muradov, who's a guy from Uzbekistan, but he's living for a long time in Czech Republic. Yeah, so I
Okay.
remember him fighting on prelims of McGregor Poirier too. So he's one of your
Yeah.
coaches. Yeah, I saw him
Yeah. So
after
my
the
coach
fight.
now.
After the
Yeah.
last fight, you were taking photo with him.
Yeah, yeah, he was one of the guys in the photos as well. He actually has a pretty big fight coming up on August 21st. He signed with PFL and he's fighting
Mhm.
I'm drawing a blank on who he's fighting, but he has a pretty big fight coming up next week on August 21st as well.
Okay, I will look it up. So he was a collegiate standout in wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. I was really impressed when I was looking him up before they fight. Andrew Sanchez, upcoming fight. I am about to find it. So
Okay.
he's fighting in
Yeah, I
five
mean
days. Uh-huh. So
it's cool because like we're talking about that lineage and the things you pass on. I mean, a guy like Andrew
he
was like
sorry, he's
mentioned,
fighting Impa Kasanganay, the
yeah,
guy
Impa.
who won 1 million, I think, and he's the bad part of the highlight of Buckley with that spinning kick.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's on the receiving end of one of the
Yeah.
most viral highlights. But yeah, I mean, it just goes to talk about the like I was saying earlier, just the lineage that you get from people you're able to train with. I mean, Andrew Sanchez was a great collegiate wrestler. He made his own breakthrough career, winning the Ultimate Fighter, and gets where he's at. But the cool thing about him is like the guy was fortunate to be in a training room with guys like George St. Pierre. He was fortunate to be in a training room for years when guys like DC and Khabib were both fighting. So you're if you, there's no way as a wrestler you could be in the same room as a guy like DC and Khabib, and you don't walk away learning some tricks of the trade, so to speak, when it comes to being one of the most dominant wrestlers in MMA. So being able to pick a guy's brain like that and learn from a guy like that who's not only had his own success in wrestling and MMA and that kind of thing, but also had the opportunity to be mentored and trained alongside guys like George St. Pierre, guys like Khabib, guys like DC. That's an honor in itself, and I'm definitely grateful to be able to continue learning, continue growing from all these different people that are around.
Hmm. And one more thing about Colorado, it's pretty high altitude. I don't know exactly, but it's notorious for being very, very highly located. And Jiří Procházka, he just finished his master's degree, and his dissertation's topic was high altitude training and its impact on performance. So
Huh.
no, could
Have to
you
check that out.
evaluate it? And you are known for having a good cardio, winning in the later round quite often. So do you think it has a good impact or big impact?
Absolutely, but at the end of the day, like anything else, it's how you apply it that makes it really effective. I mean, sure, training at high altitude does have an impact on like your lung capacity and that kind of thing, and your cardio output. But the other side about it as well, because you're in such high altitude, and you're training, and your body has to acclimate and adapt to the high altitude so well. It can also have the adverse effect where it's easier to get overtrained
Hmm.
because of it. So if you think of like a normal task, like
Have you
and I
have you
realized my first movie.
experienced overtraining because of it, or how?
Oh,
And how
absolutely.
was your
I
first month after you moved there? How did it feel the first month?
Yeah, so overtraining is one of the things that I have to like govern and be more so worried about my throughout my training camp. I mean, the only time or most of the time when I get a nagging injury, if it's not like a catastrophic thing where someone just kind of slams into you or hits you or bumps or bruises, most of the time if I'm suffering from some kind of injury, it's a result from being overtrained where I'm pushing my body where I should be resting, so to speak. But the interesting thing about Colorado is that I mean, I'm sure you probably noticed this during his research or for his paper, but one of the things that I noticed, especially when I first moved out here, is normal tasks that you would do at sea level are a little bit more difficult being at altitude. So when I first moved here, I remember going to a football game and I'm walking up the stairs at the stadium and I catch myself being out of breath. And I'm just like, what? How is this possible? Like, I'm in shape. I'm 24 years old, 25 at the time. I'm 25 years old. Like, how can I possibly be out of shape walking up a flight of stairs? This shouldn't happen. There's no way. But that was my body kind of acclimating to the
Hmm.
high altitude and that kind of thing. So when you think about training, and this is not me for sure knowing it from any like scientific evidence or anything like that, it's more so my theory from my experiences of living in altitude. I feel like once the training is done and you tell yourself like, okay, cool, now it's time to rest, now it's time to recover. I feel like trying to rest and trying to recover in the altitude, on the high altitude, is just as difficult, if not more difficult, as being at sea level. So like I said earlier, if walking up the steps is that much more difficult because of the altitude, I would assume that it plays an effect on how you're recovering as well. So if I go for a light jog, for example, if I go for a light jog at sea level, I can go for 5, 6, 7, 8 miles and not really think nothing of it. But because of the high altitude, my body has to work so much harder to do the same thing at a higher altitude that like even if I'm doing a recovery run, I don't feel like I'm actually getting that true benefit of it because my body's still exerting itself in order to make up for the lack of oxygen being higher up. So it's like it's interesting. I would love for someone else to kind of like do the research and dive into it a bit more. But I feel like the altitude could be a great thing if used correctly. But
Hmm.
I feel like it can also be something that can easily get overused and abused to the point of getting overtrained because of it.
Mhm. And what it feels like now when you travel outside of Denver to some regular altitude? Like, does it feel different?
Oh, it
Do you
feels
feel
great.
breathing
Like I said,
lightly?
like I can. Yeah, like you feel like you go for days. I mean, and I realized that early in my career where a lot of like I got labeled being a slow starter. And I realized that like because of the high altitude training, when I go down to sea level or places lower than Colorado, I feel like it takes more to get tired at that point. So there are times where I would go out for a fight and that first round, I didn't even break a sweat yet. And it was like, huh, that's weird. Like I'm literally fighting a guy in the cage. I should be exhausted, should be tired. But like the second, third round, I'm like, oh yeah, now I'm starting to wake up. Now I'm in a
Hmm.
fight, and now I'm actually going out there and I'm running full speed. So, training altitude definitely made me adapt to how I prepare for the fight and even the warm up. Like I almost have to get the first round out of the way backstage. That way, by the time I go out and fight,
Hmm.
in my mind, physically, I've already done rounds two, three, and four, and now I'm going out to the rounds five, six, and seven on fight night. So like I said, you just have to adapt to it and know what it's going to do
Hmm.
to you and be ready for it.
By the way, have you ever gone the full distance, 25 minutes, 5 rounds?
One time against Michael Chiesa.
Ah,
Wasn't my
okay.
best performance, but it was one time. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. I mentioned earlier that you did serve in the U.S. Army. You had I read about some mission in Kuwait. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I deployed once in 2007. I mean, fortunately for me, I was deployed with a medical unit, so I was doing like
Mm-hmm.
different triage and medical treatments and that kind of thing. So it was a cool time in my life. I mean, one of the cool things about being in the military is it kind of allows you this opportunity to learn how to be um present with where you are and be grateful where you are as well. So like during deployment for me, it was an opportunity for me to like really kind of get to know who I was, like you know what I mean. So like, I though I was away from family, though I was deployed, though I was a place I didn't necessarily want to be. It was a good opportunity for me nonetheless to kind of like focus on what I could accomplish while I was there, kind of thing. So I was fortunate where after duty I could meet up with a couple guys and we just literally would just go out in the sand pits and like wrestle with each other or strike with each other, do whatever else we can with each other, to just kind of like relieve the stress and take your mind off of like your day-to-day grind and just kind of do something you love or whatever. So it has kind of allowed me to enjoy the process of where it is you're trying to go, even though you may not quite be there yet. So I didn't want to be deployed, but I was there, so I might as well find a way to make the best of it and be present. And I was able to do just that. So it was a interesting time in life, but overall, very fortunate for the opportunity to be with the people I got to serve with and the things you got to do while we were deployed.
So do you feel it prepared you for MMA career in terms of discipline, maybe hand-to-hand combat too?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing for that is just like I said, just the mindset allows you to enjoy the process because throughout the my MMA career, there's times where like you hit some of the lowest of lows. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, being on a two fight losing streak, it absolutely sucked. Like it was terrible. But still trying to like find that motivation to kind of dust yourself off and do it again. Find that motivation to still be like, hey, you know what? You lost two fights, but it's not the end. You're still alive. You're still healthy. You're still able to go out there and try it again. Go ahead and dust yourself off and get ready for what's next or whatever. As opposed to sitting there and feeling sorry for yourself. So it definitely allowed me to adapt that mindset of like being able to enjoy the process, regardless of how crappy it may be. And it got me a long way. I mean, there were plenty lows throughout my MMA career that had it not been for my military experience, I may not have been equipped to handle it as well as I did.
And I mentioned hand-to-hand combat. What do you feel about system that Army is teaching and how they approach the fighting?
So it's kind of cool. So at the end of the day, like if and we would say like I was fortunate to be an Army combatives instructor for a bit, and I got to do all their Army combatives courses from level one all the way up to four.
Hmm.
So those are those cool things that like overall like it's a cool thing to understand like how to do hand-to-hand combat and that kind of thing. But in the event that you are a soldier and you're in a war zone and you have to resort to hand-to-hand combat, you've messed up so many times. That means that means your primary weapon failed, your backup weapon failed, and you have no support from your battle buddies. So if you're get to the point of using hand-to-hand combat in a combat zone, you really screwed up. But ultimately, I think one of the things that the goal of Army Combatives was, and what it does teach you, it's just that uh, mental fortitude that it gives you, that like, ability to just like one be in control of yourself. You can control yourself physically, you control your emotions, and you're in control of everything else. And I think that goes a really long way. I mean, there are a lot of times that like we face high stress situations and like your body immediately kicks to this like fight or flight mode kind of thing, and everything
Hmm.
just becomes super chaotic. Being able to put yourself in scenarios that are unfamiliar or uncomfortable, like hand-to-hand combat, like jiu-jitsu would, like striking practices would. It kind of allows you to be able to control those emotions a little bit better when you feel like you're quote unquote under fire or under pressure, so to speak. So yes, the hand-to-hand combat stuff is great for the technical portion of it, but I think overall what it does for you mentally is where a lot of the guys are able to benefit from. I mean, there's been so many times that like I just had a terrible day, whether it be my personal life or my fighting career or my time in the army, where it's like I had a tough mission that day where the moment I stepped on that mat and said, I'm going to go train or I'm going to go compete, I'm going to do whatever else it may be, whatever else I was dealing with prior to that, for however long I'm training, just doesn't matter. And
Mhm.
usually by the time I get done with that training session, I'm more equipped mentally and emotionally to handle whatever stressor it was that was bothering me or plaguing me prior to going to that training session. So overall, yes, the Army combat techniques are great, but I think what it does for you mentally is where the real benefit is.
And you have to find the differences. Like I can tell myself, my best friend is now serving his first year as a paratrooper, if it's the word.
Yeah.
And when we are discussing the jiu-jitsu techniques, for example, how do you keep opponents back? And I'm like, you shouldn't be crossing your feet. And he's like, okay, yeah, try to ankle lock me with my 5 pound shoes.
Yeah.
Try to keep your chin tucked. If I have watches and I can go into your face, it's very different. You have to be very nasty about it, not too technical necessarily. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
for
like the
sure.
differences. After all,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
want
what the
these people to guard your country.
yeah, I mean, there are definitely some things that are different about it. And then the cool thing is like you get to use your environment to do it. Like for example, like my uniform. Like I knew every piece of Velcro on my military uniform and
Hmm.
how to take it off and how to manipulate it to be able to use in a hand-to-hand combat scenario. Not only that, I knew how to use whatever clothing that my opponent or opposition was wearing. I know how to use their clothing or whatever they have presented to them as a tactical advantage as well. I mean, one thing, for example, I would not have had I still been in the military would be hair. Like I would
Hmm.
not have this hair in the military because of just how much of a technical disadvantage that puts me in. But there definitely some uh, similarities between like hand-to-hand combat and martial arts and that kind of thing. One of the things that it allows me to when it comes to the mental side of it is a lot of times when I'm around my peers who compete in martial arts, they always use the terminology like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to war, I'm going to war, I'm going to war," when they're walking out to a fight. And for me, I was able to like take the stress off of going to a fight because I never got the view as like, oh yeah, I'm going to war. I'm like, no, I'm going to do something I actually do enjoy and I do love. I mean, this isn't life or death. Like, worst case scenario, sure, I can get physical bodily injury or whatever, but like, I'm doing something that I love. I'm doing something that I choose to go do. It's not something I'm doing because I have to. At any point, I can say, hey, tap, I'm done, I'm out, or whatever else it may be. But like the fact that I get to make that choice to enter that and to put my body to the most extreme scenarios, I feel like that gives me a mental edge in itself, knowing that like, hey, this isn't the end of the world kind of thing. Like you still have like even if you get your ass kicked today, guess what's gonna happen? The sun's gonna come up tomorrow anyway. You get another opportunity to go out there and try again, sort of thing. So I think give me that like comfort going into a fight where like I can fight guys like Hector Lombard. I know, like, all right, whatever. Is that a scary individual? Could he knock my head into the first round? Sure, absolutely. But when it's all said and done, I'm gonna wake up eventually and be okay, kind of thing. So
He was trying his
I
best to do
think being able
so.
to
Yeah, like.
yeah. So I think being able to adapt mentally to what it feels like walking into a competition or compared to a war zone or whatever are two different things. And I'm very fortunate to be able to kind of minimize the fight, knowing that it's like not this big scary thing that can never bounce back from.
Oh, okay, so we were discussing Ultimate Fighter. So let's get even before that. You have started your MMA career in 2010 or 2010. You started on regional circuit, and one thing that entertained me was Cutthroat MMA promotion you participated in. Like, what's the name? You don't
Yeah.
want to get too mainstream. You just want to seem to be as as hardcore sport as you can. So, what can you tell us about those first fight? You fought very frequently. You were winning up until your seventh fight, I think so.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like to to be in a sport of mixed martial arts long as I have, you got to see like the ways that it went through to be an actual legitimate sport that is now. I mean, when I first started out, like there was nothing. What's the word before? It was very hard to make it a paraprofessional because everyone was just trying to make it seem like this real like better words cutthroat sport that was just like there's two guys going in and bashing it out or whatever. There's no technique involved, whatever else it may be. It's just gonna be nothing but like blood, violence, and gore and blah blah blah. And on the other end, they're like, hey, we're a sport. We should be on TV. People should be able to watch the Disney Channel and flick over and watch us on mainline TV or whatever. So it was interesting because when I first started out, it was all about the violence, all about the gore. I mean, even the designs on your clothing, every piece of clothing that had to do with MMA had like some kind of skull on it. There was some kind of sword on it. There was some kind of blood on it. There was all types of like crazy bedazzled t-shirts with tribal symbols. It was like this real weird era where like everything was supposed to be like super geared towards like violence and just cruelty or whatever. And then like at the end of the day it was not what it was about at all. And it took a while to kind of get away from that. Like in that promotion cutthroat, I remember being in a fight with a guy where it's like it got to the point that I was winning the fight and I realized that the guy wasn't fighting back, but he was doing a good job of defending the chokes. So I just kept having to like hit him and hope to get a TKO. It got to the point that like literally mid fight, I'm like, man, this guy's not giving up. We're making like $300 tonight, and I'm just beating the crap out of this poor guy. He's like, he has to go to work tomorrow. I have to go to work tomorrow. What are we doing here? So like, even though it's supposed to be a cutthroat sport, I literally remember making a conscious decision to like stop hitting the guy to actually cause damage. Literally get to point just like, hey buddy, you're gonna quit. Stop. We gotta
Yeah.
work tomorrow. Like you don't want to get this thing going anymore. So having to endure those early days of MMA where it was all about like the violence, the gore, and blah blah blah, to being where it is now, where it's like you're watching kids get involved with mixed martial arts, kids get involved with jiu-jitsu, and to be the singer to like learn self-control, learn discipline, and learn about yourself, whatever. I'm very happy to see the turn that it took over the last 20 plus years to be in a sport that is worldly recognized as actually being more than just an entertaining blood sport, but an actual legitimate sport that involves technique, discipline, and focus, and everything else like that, just like any other major sport.
After those six fights, you suffered your first loss, and it was, I think, first and only middleweight bout. Is that correct?
No, so I did. So it was interesting. So during the time to get to the Ultimate Fighter, it was all about trying to get as many fights as possible to be able to go and
Hmm.
stand out there. So I had that first loss, and I was like, man, that sucked. But in the back of my mind, I was like, all right, well, I can't sit there and dwell on it too much. Like I want to try for the Ultimate Fighter again. So there was an opportunity where I was at the gym, and a promoter walked in, and while she was there, she's like, oh crap, I just lost a fighter for a middleweight fight. And without even thinking, I was like, oh, I'll do it. And she's like, Neil, shut up. It's a middleweight fight. The fight's next week. Like, you're not fighting middleweight. Like, no, 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 I'll do it. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, I don't have to cut weight. Like, I'll fight middleweight. Why not? So I took that fight on a week's notice to fight up a weight class. Ended up being the last fight that I needed before I got picked up by the UFC. So like it was definitely a risk, or definitely was a gamble to fight a weight class up on a week's notice. But I was so determined to one, get over that loss, two, get to the UFC. That I was just like, if it means fighting up a weight class, cool. I'll go up two weight classes if what it takes. But it was a fortunate decision for me to make that time to take that fight last minute up a weight class.
Is it difficult for you to cut to 170, 70
No,
pounds?
not at all. It's pretty easy.
Uh-huh.
My last fight cut 170. I think I spent an hour and a half total in the sauna. I cut
Mm.
about 2.5, 3 pounds to make weight. So, making weight at this point is very easy for me. The discipline part comes in where it's like, because it's so easy to make weight, I have to be more disciplined as to like what it is that I choose to eat and put in my body. I mean, especially as I get older. I mean, if I eat a bunch of crap foods, my body's gonna feel like it. I'm gonna get inflammation. I'm gonna get sore a lot quicker and all that kind of stuff. So, for me now, it's about eating for performance rather than eating just to make weight.
Yeah, it's a great best scenario. A lot of fighters like sacrifice their performance for cutting weight. They're having the battle 24 hours before the fight even happens. And after all these years throughout the UFC, you have fought everybody you can possibly imagine at welterweight. How do you still get stay motivated and how do you keep going? Is it more difficult than it was before, or do you have some more motivation from kids or something like this?
Yeah, I mean, so it's difficult because as I get older and as I get more things on my plate, the goal remains the same to go out there and be the best fighter I can possibly be, things like that. But then there's also the pressure of like, okay, cool, yes, that I'm gonna go out there and be the best in the world and fight the best people in the world, but also I have to accept the fact that like I'm a prize fighter, and at the end of the day, every prize fighter has an expiration date. I would love to fight until I'm 50 years old and be able to provide for my family long and gone or whatever. But the reality of it is, I have a limited window of when I'm able to compete, and I have two people that are dependent on me and what I go out there and do. So now, like the motivations aren't just me to go out there and just be the best that I can be, but I also keep in mind that like, cool, as I'm being the best I can be, I still have two people that I'm responsible for and two people I need to provide for. So every decision that I make, every choice that I make, I gotta keep those guys in my mind and realize that like, yes, like this is about me doing what I love. It is about me doing pursuing my passions. It's about me setting my goals and things else like that. But at the end of the day, it's also about me providing for my two boys or whatever. And I refuse to let them fall short because I didn't go out there and do my best. I feel like if I uh take a fight or I go to training, I don't give my all. I'm not just failing myself at this point. I'm failing them, and I'm just not willing to do that. I mean, I watched my grandmother work her butt off my entire life or whatever to provide for her children, her grandchildren, and everything else like that. So it'll almost be a slap in the face to her for me to take these opportunities and these moments for granted and be like, I don't need to give my best. I can just give it mediocre effort or whatever else may be. The drive and determination I have to be successful, not just for myself, but for them, definitely continues to push me day in and day out.
Mhm. Amazing. So that's it for the YouTube part. I appreciate you opening up about so many topics. I appreciate you watching it and listening it. So now we get to our part on Hero Hero, which is Czech version of Patreon. We will discuss European scene, Neil's toughest fight, flawless performance, if he has some on mind, and Jiří Procházka and his teammate Bojan Veličković, who he was coaching at Octagon where we first met. So thank you for watching, and you can find a link in description, and you can join us on Hero Hero.